Hi guys, and welcome to my review of the TFZ Tequila Pro. Okay, but before I get into that review, excuse me, I actually want to just give a kind of an overview with regards to my relationship with TFZ, and that will kind of also serve as a basis to justify what I will say about TFZ in a couple of minutes. So to cut a long story short, basically I got into the TFZ world late in 2017, early 2018, and it was a brand that by then already had been kind of established itself as a manufacturer which was trying to make the tri-fi market be more than just what was being offered by KZ and TRN and other brands. And they were doing a pretty good job because it was single dynamic drivers that they were using with a kind of a novel implementation with regards to the type of driver that they were trying to put into usage, which was they gave it the name of what was it called? Dual frequency. And what basically that meant was that it had a graphene diaphragm powered by a dual magnet system and two voice coils. And this was known as their second generation driver. And the truth is that they were doing a very good job. I mean, the drivers sounded good. They played well. It was a V-shaped signature, very characteristic of TFZ, by the way. But it was good. I mean, these are my Series 2, the first TFCs I got. And yeah, I mean, they sounded fine. For the time, I thought they sounded absolutely great. But obviously, by today's standards, they are completely out of context. I mean, they're very, very overtaken, very unassuming. A Tenstrom Tanya, a KZ, a CRA, that will absolutely destroy this. One of the other novel things that TFC was also using was the fact that they used relatively a larger driver than what was a standard. So it was an 11.4 millimeter driver, and it is still an 11.4 millimeter driver. And that was it. From the Series 2, I upgraded to a T2 Galaxy, which basically was just a slight retune of the Series 2. It used a better quality shell. Let me see if I can just zoom on this. Doesn't want to zoom. There we go. So it used a better quality shell, a metal faceplate. But basically it was also still a second generation driver that was being used and implemented. And again, as I said, it sounded fine. I mean, it wasn't by today's standards. Yes, it's totally out of context, but for the time it was good. It really was. It played well. I then got and TFZ has always been known for this. So they basically have, let me kind of try to position. They basically have their below, let's say, $100, which is the Series 2, the Series 4, and then they have above the $100, which are more kind of the more upscale IEMs, where we have things like the King Pro, the King Limited, the original Tequila, the Secret Garden, which was at one point their absolute very best offering. So, and in one of those, but even below the $100 margin, they had like these limited series or more detailed, better implementation series. And so I decided to try one of those and enter My Love edition, and I bought My Love edition. Okay, the first one, and well, the first one for me. This is the second generation of that, my love edition. I think this is the second, yeah. And this again was still using a second generation driver with a slight improvement in the tuning, but yeah, it was what it was. Fine. Then later in 2019, they came out with the third generation of drivers, and this third generation of drivers used a diamond-like coating and an improved magnet system once again, and it also was the first time that they kind of went more seriously with the difference or the different impedance ratings that you could get depending on the model. They had already done it before, but they had models with like 55 ohm impedance, which was kind of unheard of. But anyway, so this third generation driver came out, known as the M1U, sorry, and the first one to have it, or one of the first ones to have it, was the TFZ number 3, which I am a big fan of the number 3. Okay, its biggest flaw was perhaps an early roll-off with regards to the higher frequencies, and it kind of made the sound a little bit dark sometimes, so depending on what genre you were using, you could feel that something was lacking. But overall, it was a very fun, very engaging IEM. Bass was tremendous, really good quality bass, and in ample quantities. But of course, that meant that the mid suffered slightly with it, especially the female vocals. And it had its flaws, like I said, but overall it was an interesting IEM, and one which I still to this day occasionally hear and enjoy it. I really do. I really think it's a really nice IEM, and I've got this version, the transparent. I've got the one with the titanium faceplate. I've got the one which is the commemorative anniversary one, which is the full black one. And it's a really nice IEM. They also came out with the TFZ Essence, which was an all resin shell and using a beryllium coated driver, which I also have. And I think this was probably one of the most kind of, I don't know, I'm not going to say it was a flop, because obviously I don't know what the sales numbers were, but for some reason it just didn't pick up. But it followed very much the tuning of the number 3, which is the funny thing. So you heard a number 3 and you heard the Essence, and they kind of were very similar sounding. Again, loads of bass was the emphasis, but it was. I mean, TFZ is known for making good bass. Period. That's it. Good bass. So if you want a fun IEM, TFZ. Okay, fine. And then I kind of stayed away from TFZ simply because there was nothing that was really getting my attention. Yes, I'm not gonna lie. I would have liked to have tried some of the more expensive models, the TxBear, which is a 10BA model, the Series 7, which is a 4+1 hybrid, the King Edition. I would have liked to try it, but I guess that the fact that, on the one hand, for example, talking about the King Edition also shares the same third generation driver, so it was basically the shell and the tuning that was slightly different. And I was so happy with the number 3, the TFZ number 3, that I never really wanted to go above that price, which was about $170 more or less. And besides that, other things were made available that were more interesting for me, and that was it. So basically, late 2020, early 2021, when I bought the Essence, was when I kind of stopped looking at TFZ and didn't really pay much attention. I would occasionally see some reviews on the Live X, the King RS, and so on and so forth, but nothing really truly got my attention. There was the Secret Garden 10 with the 8 BAs and 2 ESTs that came out in 2020, but crazy money, and like I said, I just left it. Anyway, enter 2021, late 2021, and they launch the My Love Edition 4. So yeah, we have the like I was saying, the My Love Edition 4, which was when I first heard about it. I kind of thought, well, this must be a live 3 or something along those lines. And the live series, or basically the series which came and substitute the T2 Galaxy, so the more budget in the stuff. Um, and when My Love Edition 4 came out, I said, well, yeah, let's give it a go. Let's give it a try. I heard that it had a novel tuning in the sense that it was more mid-range focused and so on and so forth. So I went out and I bought one, and yes, I was quite surprised. Well, this thing, it uses a 2.5 generation driver, so it's kind of an in-between of the second generation and the third generation. So it still uses a graphene diaphragm. They've just improved the magnetic circuit. And I bought it, like I said. I'd heard it and I said, oh, this plays nicely. But then I decided, hold on, let me just play around with it a little bit. And I did. And by adding a 300 grade filter on the front vent, like you could see here, what basically this did was bring up the bass, which was nice but was very flat. It just brought it up a little bit, so it kind of gave it a little bit of that usual TFZ feel, and it just made it an incredible IM, which for some reason I just don't understand why it hasn't been getting more torque. The build quality is exceptional build quality. The quality of the shell is very good. Metal nozzle, metal faceplate. Okay, being My Love Edition 4, it's supposedly a series which is more focused on the ladies, so it's got some touches here of bling. But anyway, in terms of sound, fantastic, super happy with it. And then a little bit later, we have the release of the TFZ T2 Pro. And when I heard about it, I said, oh, T2 Pro, okay, well, the T2 Galaxy wasn't too bad. Let's see what this is about. And disappointment. Total and complete disappointment. I get this, and like, what is going on? So, very flat in the bass, very mid-focused, and it absolutely just sounded bad. The bass was more of a mid bass focus, and it rolled off completely in the sub bass. I mean, seriously, these things are not what I was expecting. Again, I played around a little bit, added a 300 grade filter on the vent, as you can see there. Put a tangstrom filter on the nozzle, and yes, it became way better, more listenable, more bearable. But again, nothing that I would particularly write home about and say, oh, okay, this is amazing. No. And now finally we arrive at the Tequila Pro, which is an upgrade over the original Tequila. It uses a third generation driver in this kind of unusual metal shell. It's got very nice faceplate. It's very, I mean, you can see that there's been some attention to detail paid here. The quality is there. They've got decent weight. Fit is delicate at best. It's not. It gets some used. It takes some getting used to actually putting him in there, because it just, I don't know. And isolation obviously also is affected by it, as opposed to the rest of the range where the fit was more of a normal standard fit and it actually was fine. This thing, no, not good. And this brings me then to what I've been trying to, or I'm trying to get to, which is TFZ is a brand which I've obviously, and as you can see, been a fan of, and will continue to be a fan of. But for some reason, as of late, it seems that they are kind of falling into the same trap like Tin Hi-Fi did, of just repeating the same thing over and over again without any real improvement, any real wow factor. They are still using Series 2 drivers, which I don't know why, honestly. Doesn't make sense. They are still using an approach which is very un 2021 2022 in terms of sound. And if I had not done these little small easy to do and reversible mods, honestly, I wouldn't recommend the T2 Pro to anyone. That's how, I mean, a CCA CRA eats this thing alive, eats it alive in every possible way and manner. Okay. As for the My Love Edition 4, and I'll repeat what I just said a little bit earlier, I don't understand why it hasn't been getting much love, because even in the standard format that it comes in, although not bass focused, it plays well. It really does. It's got a very engaging sound. It's very clean, and what they actually said about it, which was it was a vocal, instrument focused earphone, that has been achieved. But there hasn't been anything really tremendous. So when I got the Tequila Pro, I'll be honest with you. First of all, at $189, I don't understand why it brings this packaging. No, if I'm paying $190, I want to get a nice ass box. I want to get a box that oozes quality. I want to get a box like a C Audio Midnight, the Yume Midnight. I want to get a box like a Tenstrom 2021. I want to get a box like a BQ EYZ Autumn. I want to have an experience in terms of unboxing. And then when you open it up, it brings, come on, this is kind of blonde type of, no, fine, it brings plenty of tips, and that's no problem there. But no, people, no, not for $190. Then we have the issue of the cable, which is, again, this is the cable of the T2 Pro. Okay, and the Tequila brings exactly the same cable. People, again, look, it's not bad, but on a $70 IM, it's one thing. On a $190 IM, it's another. Especially when the Tequila Pro is an IM which embodies the more higher end products that TFZ makes. So I don't understand why. I'm using an XI NHS cable here, and this is the sort of cable it should bring. A nice cable. It looks good. It's got some size, some girth with it. This is what I want. You want to pay, but no, look at that. That's a nice cable there. That's a really nice cable. And finally, we come to the sound, which is using the third generation driver. I naturally assumed that the sound would be very much like the sound of the TFZ number 3. So bass heavy sound, half decent, sorry, mids, but rolled off in the highs. And in standard format, because these are no longer standard, in standard format, this thing is unlistenable, period. It is no competition for the HANA 2021. It is no competition for, it's no competition for a Richo SG01, let's put it that way. Okay? No. I mean, come on. TFZ, they've been around for a while. They launch a lot of products. They should know better. They should know how to tune by now. And no. I'm still going to give the benefit of the doubt that maybe I just got a bad unit, but I'm not going to spend $190 to find out by buying a second pair. I can guarantee you that much. But this thing in standard format, it was absolutely horrible. It was peaks all over the place. It was just, no, bass like you cannot believe, but no, not a nice listen, definitely. So I said to myself, no, I've got to do something here. And as you can maybe see here, well, I've gone and worked the magic of the Tanstrom filter. And that's what I did. I put a Tanstrom filter on this thing. And wow, there could not have been a more satisfying change. The bass tightened up. It is still there in by the truckloads. I mean, this will probably be my rec in terms of the ultimate bass head I am. It's got as much bass as a QDC D Solo Magic, if that will put things into context. And in the Venture Electronics BE Pro, which was what I considered as well to be an excellent bass head IM, it's got more bass than that as well. So in terms of bass quantity, if what you want is to really be slammed and hammered, definitely it tick that box. As with regards to the rest of the sound, the sound frequency, the reproduction, mid-range, high frequency, and so on and so forth. Without the filter, forget it. You just cannot listen to this thing. Forget it. Honestly, just forget it. You put the filter on, it brings down those peaks. Like I said, just tightens up the bass, and everything just becomes way more pleasurable. This, however, is not a Hana 2021. It's not a Moondrop Kato, which is basically as well the same kind of price. This will enable you to listen to music in a proper way. The Kato, you can listen to music, you can listen to details. We can sit here and talk about detailed retrieval and soundstage and imaging and so on and so forth. This, no. Having said that, and not wanting to sound mean or anything of the sort, it has got half decent technicalities, but not at the price range, or not not technicalities for the price that it costs. But that's about it. I mean, this is an IM for if you want to listen to EDM, if you want to listen to bass heavy songs, rap. This is definitely a must. I'm not gonna say that with my music genre that I prefer to listen, that I cannot listen to it. Yes, I can. It's half decent. It plays, but it's just got so much bass, good quality bass. Let's not forget that it's got loads of bass, but good quality bass. That it just makes everything just overly emphasized. The voices are just overly warm. Tonality and timbre of across the board of instruments and so on and so forth just doesn't sound realistic. It doesn't sound bad, but it doesn't sound realistic. Okay. To just make a quick recap, the Tequila Pro is a nice IM if you are willing to do two things: forget what it costs, and you put a filter on it. If you forget what it costs and you put a filter on it, then it's a nice IM for those that are looking for the ultimate bass head IM. If you want the ultimate in terms of wanting to pound your head to a pulp, this is definitely the IM to go for. As a diehard TFZ fan, am I happy? No, I'm not happy. I'm not happy because I was expecting more. I was expecting more in terms of the packaging, because if I'm paying the amount of money that I'm paying, I want to be treated like accordingly. I want to have the pleasure of wow. And also because at this point, of 2022, I was really hoping that, yes, I'm not saying move away from what is your foundation and what is your preferred kind of sound signature, but polish it up, make it nicer, make it a really good quality V shape. There's loads of techniques that can be implemented to satisfy. I mean, look at BQEYZ with the Autumn, what they did with the tunable filters. They could have done that on here. So they could have had a filter, and also the Moondrop Kato does the same thing. But to a lesser extent than the BQEYZ. In the BQEYZ, it's very noticeable that the increase in bass. So they could have done something like it over here. They could have implemented a filter system where if you want to kill yourself with loads of bass, put on that filter. and it will play all the EDM and all the rap and all the, like you want. But if you want to listen to proper music, then you change the filter. And by proper music, you know what I mean. But if you want to listen to music, if you want to listen to vocals, if you want to listen to a guitar, if you want to listen to instruments, you want to listen to a piano, you change the filter, tame the bass, and you know that the mids and highs that are there present will not be overwhelmed, and everything will marry together beautifully and offer you a nice presentation. And that's ultimately, the thing that I was expecting. I was honestly, I don't know if TFZ will see this video. I would like them to see it, because I'm saying this as a true TFZ fan. I'm not talking and giving out criticism and I've got just one IEM. No, I've got loads of TFZ products. I've been a supporter of TFZ products. I want to carry on supporting TFZ products, but make stuff really stand out, people. Come on. You have the ability, you have the know-how, you have the knowledge, you have you have everything. Do it. If KZ can come out with stuff like the DQ6S, if they can come out with stuff like the CRA, if they can come out with stuff like the ZEX Pro, hey, fine, they used collaborations. Who cares? But if they can come out with stuff like that, priced at that amount, that really plays well and shows a mature, growing up, kind of sound, then TFZ can surely do it. And I would be the first one. I will be the first one. Hell, I would even help them if they wanted my help. But I will be the first one to be there, giving my money to buy a TFZ product when they have done something like that. Anyway, guys, just to finish up quickly, like I said, I'm not going to spend too much time in comparisons, but I compared it to the B Pro from Venture Electronics, and overall, this is a darker IEM than the Tequila Pro, because it just doesn't have the extension that the Tequila Pro has. To kind of put it into in a more easier to understand context, once you apply the filters on the nozzle of the Tequila Pro, and you can use either the TxBear filters, or you can use a 300 grade filter. I tried with both of them, and I got basically similar results. I actually think I've got the 300 on here right now. But anyway, by applying those filters, basically what you end up with is a TFZ number 3 with a little bit more extension. And the TFZ number 3, for you to have extension, you have to use, well, in my case, like some spiral dots like I'm using here, to have a little bit more extension. Otherwise, it's just a little bit too dark for the amount of bass that it has. So you end up with something like the TFZ number 3 with better quality bass, more bass still, and better quality mids. That's what the Tequila Pro is. Is it worth the $190? No, it's not worth $190. The BE Pro, as compared to that, modified, it's an inferior IEM, but then again, we're talking $70 here. And in my opinion, the Tequila Pro should be priced maximum as it stands here, like it is now, and with better packaging, it should be priced maximum $120. That's the price I think this would be a fair price for, but with those improvements that I've just told you about. As for the QDC D-Solo Magic, this was again another disappointment. The most beautiful IEM that I have of all the IEMs I've got. Beautiful. The shell, beautiful. In terms of sound, what a disappointment. The TFZ, the Tequila Pro, is a better sounding IEM than this in every way possible. It's superior to this. And as compared to the Moondrop Kato, and I just don't want to continue yet too much. As compared to the Moondrop Kato, well, I think you already know what my answer is going to be. This any day of the week. Any day of the week. So that's it, guys. TFZ, if you're listening to this, or if you are going to pay any attention to what a small reviewer but big fan is saying, is please come out with a Pro 2 version. Put those filters on this thing. Improve the tuning slightly. Give us a better cable. Give us a nice carrying case. Okay? And then you can start talking about competing with the big boys and having a piece of the pie that is right now occupied by TxBear with the Hana, the Moondrop with the Kato, and other stuff, because as it stands in standard format, this in standard format like it is here in front of me, honestly, I would take a Richo SG01 over this. No issues, no issues. Anyway, guys, thank you. Take care. Bye-bye.